Yo everybody, I'm Silveus, back for another Tibia Let's Play introductory course. It's worth mentioning that, I'm a level 80-something paladin, so, I mean, anything that I'm hunting isn't necessarily something that's easy for a new player to hunt. In fact, new players should probably stay well away from what I'm hunting. But, I'm actually going to deviate from what I was going to do. What I was about to do was show you how to hunt ancient scarabs in a couple of different spots. But I'm going to deviate from that plan for a second, just so that I can kill some dragons and get some food. On a side note, scorpions are a monster you should be very cautious of when you first start playing, because scorpions have decently high attack, but they hit you with an incredibly potent poison that deals up to like 20 damage a click, which is definitely not an inconsiderable amount of damage. If you don't have, especially if you're a knight where your mana regeneration is slow and you're not carrying potions or anything like that, you can definitely just end up getting poisoned and then dying. So you definitely want to be cautious with scorpions. If you can avoid letting them hit you, you're probably better off in that way. Of course, if it was as simple as just not letting them hit you, Tibia would not be a difficult game. Alright. I am now stocked up well enough, I guess, on dragon hams, which are a good source of food. So now I'm going to show you a scarab spawn. Now, knights, and I suppose mages. Paladins probably... Well, paladins could hunt here. But the top levels are just these larvae, which are not exactly a thrilling opponent. Here's a mage hunting. She's level 16. So there's a second level here, and you're going to get more larvae, which I'm not going to waste my bolts on. And there's also going to be regular scarabs on this level, I think. There's regular scarabs. Yep, there's a scarab. I will kill the scarab, because it's just barely worth my time. And it also drops some meat. Here we are on the third floor, which is, as you can see, a relatively spiraling complex. I only explored parts of it, because there's only one spot that I need to get to. You'll see more larvae and more scarabs on this floor. But I want the fourth floor. Scarabs are slightly more of a defensive enemy. They are a little bit harder to hit than they hit hard. And kind of the same situation with larvae. Knights do well here because of the constant supply of meat that the larvae drop. This is the level I want. If you see over there, that is an ancient scarab. Some people try not to kill the scarabs and put them in the red HP so that they run away from them, which is a viable option. However, you need to have the ability to not just kill them in 1 or 2 hits, which I did not have there. Scarabs also drop these poison fields. If you walk through them, you'll get poisoned. You'll start taking 5 damage a click, turn, whatever you want to call it. It's not a good amount of damage. So here are 3 ancient scarabs, which is kind of more than I want to fight. Now there's a couple of things you can do with ancient scarabs, and one of them is throw poison fields on the wall. They will not walk through a poison field if they can help it. I'm horrible at this right now. Okay. So, ancient scarabs... Well, now that I only have one of them, it's a little bit easier for me to show it. Like giant spiders, ancient scarabs are actually pretty comparable to them. They are relatively slow. They can cast haste and go faster. They do have a poison-based range attack. They do not throw poison fields, though. They, as far as I know, don't make poison fields at all, come to think of it. They summon larvae, like the poison spiders from the giant spiders. They have that poison burst around them that can poison you and also can paralyze. In fact, they also have a ranged paralyze, which you just saw there. Alright. They also poison you with their melee attacks. And that cloud of poison that they shoot out can also be a really potent poison that can do like 25 a turn. If you're a knight, just run another assumption that you're going to be poisoned the whole time you're here. If you're not a knight, you can do what I'm doing, which is avoid the poison like it's the plague. Okay. They're not too hard to fight. The trick with the wall here is that they won't run through the wall if there's a way for them to go around the wall. I put this wall in a really terrible spot, by the way. So, in this situation, like, that Scarab right here, if I'm standing here, he's going to... Oh, I didn't even realize I was poisoned. He's going to go down here, make this diagonal step up, and come up at me. So, I can keep kind of going, like, once he makes his diagonal step, I can go boom and pop over here. And then he'll make his another diagonal step and try to come up this way, and then I can just keep popping back and forth. I put that firewall in a really bad place. And I only use firewalls here when there's more than one of them on me and I don't really have anywhere to run them. Otherwise, they die fast enough at my damage dealing abilities currently that I don't need to deal with the walls. The first time I came here, though, I definitely bothered with the walls. And they do respawn relatively quickly here, so there's a good chance that if you start like running backwards, you'll run into another one that had respawned. So you do want to be careful on that front. So likewise, now I'm going to go up here. Slightly annoying part about hunting these guys is pretty much every tile on this floor here, the more dirt that you see, the slower it will make you as you walk. Basically, as a paladin, you fight most monsters the same way, which is clicking on them and then walking away from them. I don't mean to make light of paladins, because I am one, and there is obviously like a lot more to that and things like that. But for the most part is, especially when you're using a crossbow, you want to keep distance from enemies. The trick is knowing whether or not you can do that and things like that. Obviously, using the Firewall rune is a trick too. I'm gonna try to like showcase off another Firewall rune in a minute. All right. Ooh, Scarabs, ancient Scarabs. Most people, I think, when they say they're gonna hunt Scarabs, are talking about ancients. Otherwise, they would say they're going into the larva caves. Ugh. So I gotta... Oh, and my backpack's filled. Or my bag is filled. Alright. Now, however you are with the Firewall rune is how it goes down. So it kind of stays like parallel to you, as you just saw. So that one went that way, because I was clicking it over here. If I had clicked up here, it would have ran horizontal, as opposed to this one that was vertical. And... oh boy, ran out of crossbows, or bolts. Okay, and if you like, if I had clicked here, it would have made a diagonal one. So I will show a diagonal one in a second too. Now I can keep running them to that. I'll leave that Scarab alive, I suppose. Oh, I guess I'll leave that one too. I can keep running them to this Firewall, although I put this Firewall in a kind of crappy location because I ran quite a bit. Because the Scarabs have that big like area burst poison storm thing they do, it's slightly better to just put the walls diagonally here. I guess that's a real larva. Yeah, that was a real larva. It's kind of annoying when there's the same monster that they summon in the area, because a lot of times I don't want to waste my bolts on them, and then I don't shoot them, and it turns out it was a real one. And I get ticked off when there's the other way. Now I'm going to show you something else real quick with the Firewall. Alright, that was a diagonal Firewall, as you can see. He can't get across that, and he won't attempt to, because he just assumes he can't get to me right now. However, once I start shooting him, his opinion on the matter will change. Now he's a little confused, he's not sure how to get to me, and now he just gives up and runs through the fire. So when you are hunting here, if you're using walls, do not block the hallway. Blocking the hallway is a bad move. That was a summoned larva, and that was annoying. Yeah, You'll also note that normally when you run through fire, it should deal 20 points of damage, and because I'm on a non-PvP world, it doesn't deal damage to me. If you're playing on a PvP-enabled world, walking through your own walls will damage you. As long as you don't turn on like player killing, and I'm not 100% certain how the PvP system works these days, other people that run through your walls will also not take damage on a PvP world. So if you're hunting with a friend or a party or whatever, feel free to throw walls. As long as you don't walk through them, they won't damage anybody. Your friend can still walk through them with no problems. Anyway, as I was going to say though, these firewalls should deal 20 points of damage when somebody goes through them. And you'll notice, if you were watching, the Scarab takes 24. That's because the Scarab has a weakness to fire damage. So any fire damage you inflict upon the Scarab, it will take extra damage. And now I'm boxed into a corner with the Scarab, which is not really great for me. Boop, ba-doop, 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 ba-doop. Scarabs do hit pretty hard in melee. In fact, I was going to let that Scarab hit me a couple times so I could showcase it, but then I accidentally killed it. So I'll do that to the next Scarab. Although I do want to get it a little bit injured before I start doing that. They also have a ranged attack, as you see. He hit me a couple times there. It hits for around 100, give or take. Oh, jeez, I wasn't paying attention there. Hits for about 100. I think it can actually hit anywhere though from like around 80 to 130, maybe, give or take. And then with the poison damage that they inflict and everything else that they can do, I think their melee hits around 250. And oh hey, one of the Scarabs dropped an amethyst. Monsters can use multiple attacks at the same time. So if he has his ranged attack, and he can hit you with a ranged attack and a melee attack at the same time. So if he hits you for max damage, you could take like 130 plus 250 plus potentially poison damage, and then take a grand total of like 400 in one like split-second period of time, which can be bad. Usually that doesn't happen, and they usually don't hit max damage. And then melee will also be reduced by my like armor and my shielding skill and stuff like that. Although I don't actually have a shield equipped at the moment. Ignore that. That's a special thing. So I'll let him hit me here. So I took 70. I took 75. I took 108. There you go. So that's basically how they work. I thought that was a summoned one, and I wasn't trying to waste it. Bolts on it. So yeah, you kind of don't want to let them hit you, obviously, unless you're a knight. Everything when I talk about like not letting things hit you, it does not apply to knights. And they're relatively easy to run around in here. You just want to make sure you're not getting like stuck between two of them, like I almost was there. That's where the firewalls come in, by the way, when you start getting more than one of them on you. Because it's not too hard, just kind of run them around in here. So far, I don't think I've seen one of them haste on me yet, though. He might be hasted. It's harder for me to tell. He's going to hit me. So, hits me for 91. Hits me for 133. So yeah, ooh, 25 poison damage is a decent amount there. If you like look on the wiki for monster stats, it'll always list max damage. What's less important than max damage, because you'll rarely get hit for max damage, what's important is the range of damage and how many attacks the monster has. So like these ancient Scarabs only have 2 damage dealing attacks. Dragons, which I fought before I got here, have a fireball attack, a fire wave that shoots out which direction they're facing, and actually like comes out of them, and you know only kind of goes in a wave direction, like so. So if you were standing right here, the wave wouldn't hit you if I shot it that way, and the wave wouldn't hit you if I shot it that way, kind of. That's how it works. This teleporter here, I can't go through. At least, yeah, okay. It takes you, there's a task for hunting ancient Scarabs. And you have to kill 250 of them, and after you kill 250 of them, you can go through that teleporter and fight the ancient Scarab boss, who's called Fleshcrawler. And he looks exactly like a normal ancient Scarab. He just is a little bit tougher and drops way better loot. So yeah, though, certain monsters have like multiple attacks, and that's more dangerous because it can fire all of those off at once. So you're more likely to get hit like multiple times and like quickly. The other thing that's important is like, I think the Ancient Scarab obviously has hit me for around like 70, but I'm pretty sure it can hit higher than that. So the range is important too. If the like maximum damage it can do is like 50 to 500, you're not likely to take the 500. You're more likely to take the 50. Well, you're also not really likely to take the 50. You're more likely to take a middling amount of damage. But if the damage range is, you know, let's say 500 to 550, you definitely want to be cautious with that enemy, obviously. You also, even as a paladin, like, because I have no shield, I will, if an enemy gets close to me, I'm pretty much automatically taking damage. So you may think that as a paladin you have free reign to kind of kill things as long as they are limited to melee or at least relatively weak magic attacks. You still want to be really cautious just in case you get like blocked in with other monsters or something along those lines, or one respawns behind you. You should not run under the assumption that like as a paladin you can hunt Ancient Scarabs and just never get hit, because you will probably at some point get hit. And the other thing you want to be really cautious about too is with like lag. You know, like I can get paralyzed by this Ancient Scarab, and if right as it paralyzes me, I get hit with like a burst of lag that only lasts for maybe 1 or 2 seconds. In that 1 or 2 seconds while I'm stumbling around confused, the Ancient Scarab can totally get up to me and at least hit me once or twice. So if you're trying to fight an enemy that's like can easily kill you in 2 hits, but it's all melee based, a bit of lag will easily kill you. Also, Tibia does have kind of lag problems. So, I mean, you should expect to get hit with lag every now and then. And trust me, you definitely will. Although I don't think I have recorded myself lagging yet, which is surprising. So we'll just kind of mosey on around this Ancient Scarab guy. And he's dead. So, yeah, if you can kill Ancient Scarabs pretty easily, they're pretty profitable. They drop a decent amount of gold. These Scarab coins can be sold to other players for probably around like maybe 150 to 200. This one has hasted. Oh look, one respawned behind me. You can kind of tell where they're coming from because they do their little poison storm. So you can see them even when they're like off the screen. But yeah. So even if you don't want to find a player that buys these and you don't want to bother with like utilizing the marketplace, you can sell them to NPCs for, at least you can sell them to the banker NPC in Ankrahmun for 100 GP a pop. The emeralds and the amethyst I think are both the same price. They sell to an NPC for 250, I believe. Some players might be interested in buying them. Druids and sorcerers can use these gems and go to a special altar that is in every single town and enchant them with like magic. It takes some mana and it takes some soul points, and it makes a small enchanted gemstone. Druids can only do sapphires and emeralds, and sorcerers can only do rubies and amethysts, and the elements are earth for emeralds, electricity for amethysts, fire for rubies, and ice for sapphires. And then you can stick the gem in certain weapons, and it temporarily, for 100 or 1,000 uses, puts elemental damage on that weapon. It does not increase the overall damage of the weapon. So for example, if the weapon had an attack value of, let's say, like 30, and then you put a gemstone in it, it'll have attack value of maybe like 21, and then 9 of the element. So it's not making it overall more powerful, but if you can use it against an enemy that's weak to that element, it's definitely worthwhile. And I ran out of bolts and wasn't paying attention again. And then also, certain enemies are resistant to physical damage, and for the phys-resistant enemies, being able to hit them with an enchanted weapon, even if they're not actually weak to the enchantment, is still helpful. As a specific example, there are ghosts in the game, amongst other types of incorporeal undead, and they're immune to physical damage. So for them, you definitely want to be using an enchanted weapon since you can't damage them otherwise. Although, to be honest, if you're a knight, you should try to just avoid places that have ghosts. because they kind of suck regardless. Anyway, so yeah, the gemstones might be valuable to other players, or if you're capable of enchanting themselves, they might be valuable to you. If you have two separate characters, you could like swap them between your characters. It's only knights that can make use of the enchanted weapons, so I mean, if you don't have a knight, they serve no purpose to you. Beyond the gemstones and the coins and the large amount of gold, they also drop these Scarab Amulets, and they drop these Ancient Amulets. They can be sold to an NPC called Rashid, who's called the Traveling Trader. You need to do a quest that takes a week to be able to trade with him. He's got a different like mini task for you each day. They're all relatively easy, but they can cost you some money. And how much they cost you kind of depends on your server and a couple of other factors, but and you can also, because he asks for like items, if you really wanted to, you could just farm monsters for the items that he's asking you for. So yeah, same with those. This here is a Daramian War Axe. That also gets sold to Rashid. The amulets, I think, are 200 for one type and a 400 for the other type, or it's possible they're both 200. The War Axe sells for, I think, 1,000 gold. The plate armors they've been dropping, and I've just been leaving in them because they weigh too much to make it worthwhile to pick them up, sell to pretty much all weapons and armor NPCs for 400 a pop, but they weigh a lot, so I don't bother with them. Let's see, what else is there that they can drop? Magic light wands are light sources like torches. Original Tibia was actually really dark, and people cheated by getting a program called a light bot that made the thing more... Oh. One thing about using walls, right? If the Scarab has already walked through the fire, it will more readily walk through the fire again. So if you accidentally put the fire on top of the Scarab, like I just did, it will sometimes run through it. Alright, let me cure myself. So, magic light wands. Okay, so yeah, in old Tibia, it was really dark. I can actually show you what it would look like. I don't know how well it'll look on the on YouTube, but graphics, advanced, ambient light. So I have my ambient light currently set to 46. If I turn it up to 100, the game looks like, well, you kind of can't see the difference because of I'm standing next to the torches, or to the fire. So this is what the game looks like with 100% light. And then this is what the game looks like with 0% light. Personally, I think 0% light, is unplayable because of how dark it is, but I think it's cool. Especially when you see like the green glow, and as I walk over here, you'll see the fire and stuff like that. And you can kind of see the shadows. There's also spells. This is Utevo Lux, and it's a light spell. You can also carry torches. However, you carry torches in the slot where your bolts are. So, as a paladin, you kind of can't use torches. I usually keep my ambient light around like 25, because that still gives you enough, like, you can see what's going on over there, but it's still like shadowy and you kind of get the feel of it. Because Tibia actually has a pretty cool lighting system. Magic attacks glow and stuff like that, and like they glow different colors, so like an ice beam or a bolt or something like that will show up as a different color. So I do think it's kind of a shame that to not like utilize the Tibia's like legitimately cool lighting system, in my opinion. However, I've been told that it's kind of hard to on the eyes on YouTube, so that's why I've turned up my light setting up higher. Also, real quick, since I just looted a magic light wand, magic light wands are kind of a like silverishy white color. It's alright, I'm gonna set my ambient light back up to the 45, 46 area. Okay. So yeah, Ancient Scarabs drop those, and I think they can drop a couple of other items. I'm not 100% certain on those other items, though, to be honest. There's a website called like tibiawiki.com, I believe it's called. And it has basically information on the drops of all monsters and things like that. So I do suggest that if you're kind of gonna like hunt a monster, it's worth looking that up to see if the monster's worthwhile and stuff like that. Alright, I'm gonna leave this cave now once I kill that ancient scarab. There we go. And that Scarab. Okay, and that Scarab. I'm going to... So, the Ancient Scarabs are pretty much kind of exclusive to the Ankrahmun area. There may or may not be a couple other spots where you could run into them. I'm not 100% certain. There are, I think, 4 or 5 larva caves around Ankrahmun. I think one of them doesn't have any Ancient Scarabs, but then the others all have a bottom layer with Ancient Scarabs. There's also a place up in Durashir called Lion's Rock that has Ancient Scarabs, and it also has these things called Roaring Lions. It's not a terribly good place for Paladins, though, because it's like very enclosed hallways, and a lot of them in a small, like, kind of dense area. So you kind of have no room to run them, and that's what you want to be doing as a Paladin, not just letting them hit you. So yeah. Lion's Rock also has a kind of cool quest in it, too, though. If you, I do suggest you check it out at some point. Hey, she's still hunting here. Hey, it looks like she leveled up, too. So that was that. I'm going to make another pass on the dragons real quick. That dragon spawn I was at the beginning of this video has another level up, I think, where there's 3 dragons in a small room. And I don't really want to fight 3 dragons in a small room, so I'm not going to. Woohoo! But that's one of the... Ankrahmun has 3 dragon spawns up on this like mountain range here I'm running alongside. That's like the southernmost one. This is the middle one. They all have like names. I think this is also called the Ankh 3 spawn, because there's 3 dragons on the ground floor. So we'll kill them. Also, because there's this little single pathway, you can easily lure them one at a time here. So I want to see if, yeah, okay, this dragon's not going to use an attack. It's cool when you can kill dragons before they get a chance to shoot at you. For obvious reasons. Come on, Mr. Dragon. Alright, that was a fire wave. You should, basically, when you're hunting dragons or anything that shoots waves, you should dodge those by staying diagonal to the monster. You can even dodge it just by doing this and staying, like, right here. Although that's not a terribly great place for a paladin to be. But sometimes it's actually, like, as a paladin, it's still better to just keep that close range. Because, even though you're going to be taking all the melee hits, it might just be better to not risk the waves, depending on the monster. Obviously, always depending on the monster. Never just run under the assumption that, like, one strategy will always work. And you'll also see here, while I have, like, 2 of them on me, it's kind of impossible to make sure that only one of them can wave me at a time. Ooh, I'm kind of dying. There we go. I have so many heal spells that I sometimes hit the wrong ones. Ate that wave with my face. I'm kind of bad at dodging waves. You'll notice that. There we go. Dragons are pretty decent EXP monsters. They're kind of dangerous, though. I mean, fighting one at a time, most people can take them without it being a big deal, but they are notably dangerous. I think up here is a Dragonlord. Maybe. I'm not too sure if there's a Dragonlord. I'm pretty sure there's a Dragonlord up here. Dragonlords are much harder than normal dragons, obviously. So you want to be careful with Dragonlords. And that's why I'm not moving around a whole bunch up here, because I don't want to accidentally trigger the Dragonlord to come over and play with me until I'm ready for him. I can do a Dragonlord, no problem, but I want to do a Dragonlord kind of by itself and not with an actual dragon there at the same time. The Dragonlords Wave is much stronger than a normal Dragon's Wave. Oh, and they also do that, which is annoying. Dragonlords are approximately like almost twice as strong as a normal dragon, so they're not to be messed with. I don't remember if there's an area up here or not. Dragonlords, however, like dragons, I think the best thing they kind of drop is like a dragon shield, which sells for around like 4,000 gold. They also have like a couple of other items that are in that same kind of like well, I guess they drop, I don't remember killing that dragon, you know? They drop serpent swords. They don't drop anything like stellar, is the important part. Yep, not gonna fight that. I am not gonna fight. 2 Dragonlords at once is legitimately dangerous, and if I had a shield I would try it, but I did not have my shield equipped, so I'm not going to do that. And, yep, not gonna go down there either. I probably could, but I'm not going to. A little bit too sketchy. Okay, so unlike dragons, though, Dragonlords drop a whole bunch of items that are pretty valuable. I know they drop Dragon Slayers, which I think are like a 15k item. K, obviously, you know, is the word for bunches of money. They drop Tower Shields, which I think are 8,000. They drop Dragon Scale Mails, which are 40,000. Drop Wands of Inferno, I think. Regular dragons might drop those too. I don't know. Point is, Dragonlords drop a whole bunch of stuff that makes them actually valuable to hunt, whereas dragons, for the most part, are just good EXP. And if you get lucky, you'll kind of break even on loot. And then this is the last Ankrahmun dragon spawn, called the North Spawn, or it's also sometimes called the 9 Spawn, because there are 9 dragons on the first level. However, and I don't know why, one time I came here, and there should not be any Dragonlords on the first level. And this was not, for anybody who's like knows Tibia concepts, this was not when you could still like rope monsters up. So it was not a roping issue. When I came down here to kill these guys, I was running one of them back. And when I got back to this little intersection here, a Dragonlord just rolled down on top of me. I have no idea how it happened. Because there's not supposed to be Dragonlords here. But there was most assuredly a Dragonlord there. And it almost killed me because, you know, I like completely panicked. There is a thing in Tibia called like mini world changes and like things like that. As far as I know, I don't know if there's one here that puts dragons there, or Dragonlords there, but there was definitely a Dragonlord there, so I'm thinking it was maybe like a rare spawn or like a mini world event or something like that. But yeah, there was like 2 dragons there, and then there was more 2 Dragonlords like right around here, and there was more dragons at other locations. It was a very odd experience. Very panicking experience too. And I almost ran out of bolts again. I'm not hitting this dragon for a whole bunch of damage right now. There we go. Now I'm hitting this dragon for a whole bunch of damage. Yeah, see, dragons aren't super profitable to me. Some people say they're profitable, but I mean, they're definitely not to me. Just to like put that into perspective, each one of my bolts cost me 12 GP a shot. So I mean, like, this dragon hurt me, but it didn't require me to heal, so I didn't have to like take a potion or anything along those lines. But alright, so I took around 160 damage there, and then got 0 loot on it and used 8 bolts. So I mean, like, they don't really seem profitable to me. And I'll also take far more damage and actually need to drink potions if I try, like, fighting more than one of them at a time. Also, like, while I'm running them, it's not really great to be fighting them in a hallway like I'm kinda was right there, because it's harder for me to dodge their waves. Alright, yeah, and then 2 of them at once isn't really a great situation either. Alright, one of them ran, which is good. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, while I'm saying, like, I'm not in any real threat against these as long as I keep myself healed and, like, keep my mana up. But, I mean, if the game, like, lagged on me or something like that, I could quickly become in real danger. Now, supposedly there's sometimes 2 dragons down here and sometimes 2 Dragonlords down here, or any combination of them. Because I've definitely been down here before and seen no evidence that somebody else had come through and killed them, but had only found a single Dragonlord and other times I've found 2. In fact, like the first 3 or so times I was down in this area, there was only 1 Dragonlord. So the one time where there was a second Dragonlord, I wasn't expecting it, and I just kind of ran up here to go get the normal dragon, and then found the normal dragon plus the Dragonlord. I just took that wave with my face. You also notice that that wave did a whole bunch of damage. And it's not immediately noticeable, but that the firewall that they throw on the floor, like, deals a legitimate amount of damage as you walk through it. Not the firewall. It's like a better firebomb. As a player, you can throw firebombs also, but yours aren't as good as those. Okay, there is another dragon. Oh, Jesus. That was a misclick. Nothing. That is my favorite loot. Loot of a Dragonlord. Nothing. Okay. I have to wait 10 seconds to be able to skin his body and hope that I get lucky with the Dragonlord red leather. And I did not. The odds of actually successfully using an obsidian knife to skin something seem to be pretty low, which is unfortunate, but whatever. Now, I think if I go up this way, there's going to be like a massive dragon, so I'm probably going to immediately go back down. Or just 1 Dragonlord. I might try to kill the 1 Dragonlord. I just got to make sure nothing else comes running in. Come on, let's kill it. Yeah, killed it. I'm pretty sure there should be. Yep, there's another Dragonlord. Oh, I took that wave with my face again. By the way, using a crossbow to just stand next to Dragonlords is a really bad strategy. I'm just doing it because I didn't want to go back to like town and get other weaponry. Okay, that's just a normal dragon over there. I don't know if there's another Dragonlord. I want to be really cautious because I don't want a Dragonlord. I don't want more than 1 Dragonlord on me, and I kind of don't want a Dragonlord plus dragons on me. There's a Dragonlord. There's a dragon. This is a pretty dangerous situation. There we go. Dragonlord dead. I got a golden mug. I think that sells to an NPC for 250 gold, which is, you know, hugely insignificant. By the way, I think each of my potions cost me around 100 GP a pop. So each time I chug one of them to, you know, make sure I don't die, I'm wasting 100 GP. Look, it's another Dragonlord. Okay, I'm glad I did not just, like, sprint down there, because if I had just sprinted down there, it would have definitely been bad. Ooh, I got a Dragon Slayer. That is a... Okay, so prior to looting the Dragon Slayer, this hunt was not really profitable, at least the dragon aspect of the hunt. And then the Dragon Slayer made this hugely profitable all of a sudden. Until I, for example, forget to reload my crossbow bolts and then just stand in front of a dragon for a couple minutes. It quickly became retarded. Alright. Try to skin Mr. Dragonlord. No luck. I want to skin this other one. No luck. I don't know what's up those stairs. I know what's... Oops. Okay. Future reference. Yeah, this just takes me down back into the spawn. If you try to go up that stairs, you're going to fight way more of them at the same time. Yeah, I don't want to go up there. By the way, like, when two Dragonlords kind of just hit me like that, there's like a legitimate chance that if they both waved and both fireballed at the same time, that I would just die. So you do kind of want to be cautious in that situation. Yeah, you do, like, even at high levels, and I'm not really, like, I'm not a very high level. You do want to be cautious with, like, when you just hop up a staircase. Because, like, definitely bad things can just happen immediately. The Dragonlord was, profitable, and gold at least. I'm taking so much damage by walking through this fire. Nope, I don't want to be standing there. You also have to be careful with dragons because after you put them into the amount of HP where they're going to try to run from you, they can still shoot fireballs and they can still shoot waves. So while you're chasing after them to get them, you can still eat waves, which is not what you want to be doing. Looks like there's a rope hole right here. I'm gonna check it out real quick and hope that I don't immediately regret it. Regretting it! Do not want to just hop into a room full of fire elementals. Fire elementals, well, that's annoying. Spectral scum are invading the towns. Ask a fortune teller for help. That is an annoying mini-event where stupid crap shows up in all the towns and gets in your way. Yeah, so anyway. With the fire elementals are powerful ranged attackers and also like decent at melee, so they just fire powerful ranged attacks at you while charging into melee. And then more importantly though, they don't give good experience points and they don't drop any loot. So hunting them is like the worst thing ever. They can also, mages can summon monsters, and they are considered like the most powerful thing that a mage can summon. And they are often used to player kill people. So if you decide to play on a PvP enabled world, you should be very careful if you're in a town and you see a fire elemental, because it means somebody summoned that and is about to do some killing. Other things that you should be concerned about if you see inside of towns are fire devils, because those are summoned by players for PvP. Minotaur archers and elf scouts are powerful ones, and then also orc berserkers, orc leaders, and like demon skeletons are some of your more you should avoid running into things. And I think scorpions can get summoned too, so you should be careful if you see somebody summoning scorpions. Just if you're still really low level and poison is still a threat to you. If you're in town and you get poisoned, by the way, you can run back to the temple and ask for healing, and then you'll get healed all up. Just so that you're aware. By the way, that Dragon Slayer I have there is one of those items that can get enchanted with one of the gems. In fact, real quick, I'll show you. You go through these portal thingies, and that's where... now, I can't go through them because it'll say only premium druids of level 30 or higher are able to enter this portal. They take you to the various altars where you enchant the gemstones. Alright. So, that was this Tibia hunt. Showed you the Ankh dragon spawns and also one of the ancient Scarabs spots. So, I think I want to end it here after I sell my crap. If you could like my video, subscribe to my channel, comment, that would all be helpful and, you know, make me think I'm not wasting my life away any more than I am by playing video games. Oh god, it's sad. Alright, anyway, yep, thanks for watching.